Hey guys, Lancy here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining me. We'll look into some more MTG market movers and the stocks later on for this week. Let's get right to it. So, what has changed since I last did the update? I actually went back and looked at my history from last week because I haven't tracked it as much as I would have liked, at least as far as the Magic market, mainly because it has been quite slow. And you can see that for the dual lands, which is what we're starting off, it's quite slow. There really hasn't been much movement. Badlands, flatlining, plateau, flat, tiger, which is the one I'm focused on, moving down slightly, but oh man, I feel like such an idiot for not recording and also just buying the lightly played. I think there was two tigers that were lightly played just 2 weeks ago, on or even less. On here for less than $288. So I don't know what kind of listing and why that was listed at such a low price, because now the tigers that I can see, the cheapest one is 388. So yeah, I swear I saw one for 288, or two of them for 288, and the next time or the next day I didn't see them, and then I felt pretty annoyed about that. But I was also surprised, and I wasn't too sure what to do with that information. Moving on, Rakdos Signet. So these have obviously been completely bought out. Can see right now that all of these secret layers signets are now sitting at $16 plus. Is that worth it? You tell me. I have got too many of these to begin with for me to then go out of my way to buy secret layers signets. But there are obviously some people that value this quite highly. They're all spiking to around about the $20 range. Pretty crazy. Plague Belcher from Amonkhet moving up. It's a zombie. Makes sense. In fact, a lot of the cards that you're going to see on the list are no longer werewolves. They are zombies. This card has spiked in the last couple of days. Moving up, it's saying $2, but obviously started from $1.38. And I'd expect it to sit around the $4.38, at least for today. Esika's Chariot still on the list, spiking up like crazy as well in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it's mostly because it's being played a lot in standard. If you wanted this card, you probably needed to get it a while back. I wouldn't recommend it now, even if it is popular, because there's some good cards that play well with it. The Meat Hook Massacre from Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Quite a gruesome looking card. It is a mythic, it is a legendary enchantment, it is pretty powerful, but from moving from $18 to now $40, that's a crazy demand for a card like this. We'll have to see how it goes in the future. Graveborn Muse 10th edition, pretty good card. I think I have a couple of copies of this. But if you had a zombie deck before now, you would have obviously picked one up. It really is a good way to draw some cards in a zombie deck. You will lose a lot of life, but that's just how zombie decks work. Metallic Mimic from Secret Lair series spiking up as well. So Secret Lairs is really strange. I would love to keep an eye on the bigger Secret Lairs market. I know I don't really buy any bulk stuff. It was mostly for me as a consumer on what I want to get. But yeah, if there's anything specific, it might be important to start stocking up on some of the secret layers that you just find good. We had this talk before where secret layers might actually have an advantage if you find one that has a usability. I mean, even look at the signets. Yeah, usability is second nature sometimes. Maybe you don't even need it to be usable. It just has to be iconic. Mayor of Arvenbrook spiking up again. A great werewolf card. Great human card as well, but mostly for werewolf. Sitting at $13.98 on TCG. And Graveborn Muse from Legions also moving up. Moving to MTG Goldfish for the weekly. Meat Hook Massacre, $52 change. Demi Leech, a 40%. Sorry, 52% and 40%. Now, Demi Leech is now sitting at $22. Renin 7, still gaining 19%, and now sit at $34.99. It is important to remember a lot of these are from the Innistrad and Forgotten Realms, so it's hard to say exactly if the movements are just because the card that it's come by so fast that it's impossible to even keep track of. I mean, look at all of these drops from, I think this is Forgotten Realms. Sorry, no, this is Innistrad. So this is Innistrad. Look at all of these drops, and it's just so hard to keep track of right now. So Esika's Chariot, 57% gain. Elrond's Epiphany, a 14% gain. That's pretty much the most important things for the weekly for standard. Moving over to Pioneer, Scarab God getting 11% for just the day. 38% for the week, now sitting at $28.93. Crazy. Relentless Dead, 25% gain to now sit at $33.73. Arclight Phoenix, 49% gain to now sit at $17.84. Arlen Cord, $18, 30% gain for the week. Crypt Breaker, 37% gain. Plague Belcher, 91% gain. There is a common, very, very common idea behind this, which is everything that was in Forgotten Realms, everything that was in Innistrad that was spoiled, that had anything to do with the past cards in some ways, especially for Commander, have spiked up like crazy because people are either trying to get ahead of the pack and bought up huge amounts of these and now selling them back at lower prices, or there's actually an organic demand for a lot of these and they're actually moving the market. The biggest drops really wasn't that much for the weekly change, and Modern, Master of the Wild Hunt for werewolves, Gravecaller for zombies, Undead Watchy for zombies, Archon of Cruelty, that's an unusual one, but 34% gain to now sit at $15.84. It's just a powerful card, I guess. $85 for Ragavan Nimble Pilferer. Why do we need money, really? Why do we need money? We have magic cards. Everyone should trade in magic cards. Sell and buy. Like bread. If you needed bread, you can use Akrun Artlaw. 210% gain, $5.30. Yeah, you can probably get like 3 loaves of bread for one of these cards. Can feed you for like a couple of days. Look at that. Mayor of Arbrook, 31% gain to now sit at $13.69. Biggest drop, Sway of the Stars, now sitting at $9.99, a 53% gain. It jumped 3,000% or something like that. Now it's jumped by 50%, but it obviously dumps a lot harder now because that's a small percentage drop, but it's going to hurt a lot of people if they bought in at the top. 11% drop for Engineered Explosive, Runner 6, a 4% drop. Steam Vents, $32, 11% drop. That's still pretty expensive. World Fire itself has also come down, now sitting at $16.71. So there is a lot of changes coming up for the Magic market, mostly thanks to what was kind of expected, but also was really unexpected on how much it'll change the market prices. Innistrad really did affect the cards that we all assumed it would, but it all seemed to happen all in one go at the very end. Moving over to the market segment. So I'll do the same thing as I did before, which is I'll split this up. I actually went and looked at the previous market update, and most of the information that I said was pretty close. The tapering talk that came out of the Federal Reserve spooked the market. Obviously, the technicals caught a lot more spook than anything else. It hit the 50, the 200, the 200 obviously hasn't hit, but it's got the 50, it's got the 20, it's got the 9. This is not looking good at all for the S&P 500, but there's a pretty high chance that this is oversold to begin with. It has dropped in the last couple of days enough for a oversell. So almost 5% drop in the last couple of days, a big oversell. It hit the 100, by the way. If I drew the 100 in this, it would have hit the 100 right here on the daily. And it probably is hitting it again right there on the daily, currently in the sell indicator. It is still saying there's a lot of sell, but the thing is it is oversold, which I'm expecting there to be a decent bounce, at least in the short term, for the next couple of days. Let me just get the RSI. I need to get the proper one, but the RSI shows that right about here, it was relatively kind of extremely sold. But you can see that the RSI right now, if it starts picking up strength, then we can start trusting the move up. Right now, I'd be careful to play this anything long term. I'm expecting the market to go up just a little bit in the next couple of days. But that's only because it's oversold. We'll have to see what happens when the market's open. The dollar index. So I said the dollar index was showing some strength last week. It obviously proved that right. It is still showing some strength. The RSI is still moving up. The MACD is still showing positive. It is still lighting up green candles. If I went to the Heikin-Ashi, it is still showing strength in that as well. So yeah, the RSI for the dollar is still showing strength, but that doesn't mean that there won't be a pullback. I'm expecting that to be a pullback so that it can at least retest the 20 or the 50 or even the 9. So I'm expecting a pullback of some short amount in the next couple of days, but that doesn't have to be the case either. Also, it is coincidental to know that gold and the dollar are both moving up at the same time, which is a tough one to believe in most cases. Tesla is doing its own weird things. The VIX is still sitting at 22, which is higher than 20. That's still pretty high risk. Bitcoin, it is moving up, but the problem is this wedge, I don't like it at all. I'm actually going to draw something right here, and we're going to see if this is what Bitcoin does. So right here is what I'm drawing. Okay. I am worried that what Bitcoin is doing right now is it's hitting these peaks and dropping down into a channel, which means that the next time it's going to peak is going to hit 44,000 and then it's going to drop again. That's the likely chance. Is it's got so much pressure from the moving averages and the resistance above it that getting above 44,000 is going to be really hard. But I'm expecting it to at least go back to 44,000 in the next day or two, and then we'll have to see what happens. UK and US oil, I am expecting either one of those to pull back. They had a really good run in the last couple of days, but if they keep running like this, then obviously the inflation trade is going to do really well. We'll have to see. Australian dollar looks really weak. I'm expecting that to probably go up, but only because it's oversold. It is also doing a daily higher high, which is kind of a good way to jump in if you think that the Australian dollar is going to go higher. For the ASX 200, which is the Australian stock market, it looks pretty weak. It did have a pretty low down here, but the RSI is still showing lack of momentum or shift. The MACD is obviously showing the same thing, so we'll have to see how that goes in the next couple of days. I am expecting the Australian share market to bounce back to at least a 1% to 2% gain in the next couple of days, but I made that call, but I don't know if that's going to pull it off or not, and we'll have to see how that goes. And the last thing that I wanted to cover was the 10-year yield. It is dropping. It's sitting at 1.50, which is actually quite high. Right now, it hit a overbought condition right here, but the MACD is still showing strength, and it is above the 200. So that's going to be painful for bond holders, I think. So I'll have to check what Stephen Van Meter is going to have to do about this. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and see you later.